I went to ranger school. I went the cool tab. Just remember, there's like two to three parts of being a ranger. You got the RASP, you got the school, you got airborne, and a lot of rangers fail out in airborne. If I could give a tip to anybody who's going into ranger school or who's going through RASP, is I would want to tell them, don't do anything in airborne. Don't yell at other people. Don't scream at other people, because the kids that come out of RASP are feral killers ready to go. And then they're thrown into this training environment where if they scream at somebody or, and they're taught basically, kind of like they've been under the ranger command and then suddenly they're under the command of some person somewhere in airborne school, and a lot of them get kicked out, and you can't be a ranger if you don't go through airborne school. And it used to be the other way. It used to be you go to airborne school and then you go to ranger school, but they switched that because people would go to airborne school just to purposefully not pass ranger school so they could get an airborne job. So now they have you go through RASP and then to airborne school. But a lot of rangers fail out in airborne school. A lot of them. And it's I wouldn't necessarily say it's all their fault. It does come down to like locking in your emotions, like locking in your discipline. But if you were just in a pipeline and that was your first experience in the military and it was tough and it was hard and it was grueling and you were getting yelled at and you were yelling and it was a very different, intense, like they make you to be like a killer, and then they put you in basically a school environment with no cushion. A lot of kids wash out, unfortunately, because they just don't have what it takes to take all of that energy and then just have it get squished into a ball. And it doesn't mean they're not good enough. I wish they knew that. Like if somebody could see this video and know, hey, when I go to ranger school, I can't be yelling and screaming at people and telling them to quit and, doing all this stuff and making people cry. As funny as it is, you can't do that. The cadre, the Black Hats will kick you out, unfortunately. Airborne is the one you jump out of planes. Yes. So you jump out of planes. So you go to airborne school. Airborne school, from what I've heard, sucks. It sucks. It really sucks. For the carnivore diet, I found I lost weight when I stopped eating like 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day. I lost a lot of weight just being in a caloric deficit and then getting out of the military. So getting out of the military, I was like 145. And that was like, 7 months ago-ish? And now I'm at 108. So I think it was getting taken out of stress, being able to actually eat like a normal person, like not just going in and then the first thing you eat is lunch, but your breakfast is stress. So yeah, you went down 105 pounds over a year? That is amazing. Good job. You think SFA is a school for Green Berets? I want to join the army to be a helo pilot and work towards being a Night Stalker, but I ended up chickening out. Aw, that's okay, Poots. It's a scary thing. It's a very scary thing. You are not the same person when you get out of the military that you are when you join. You're not. I like, whether it's politically, whether it's like politics wise, it changes. You become a more disciplined person. And I say that happens more so once you actually get to your base and you have to work with people, different types of people. Normal. I'm definitely not the same person I was when I joined. I'm definitely not. And I don't remember at what point, but the brainwashing definitely works. The brainwashing definitely works when you go through the military. And I thought I knew everything. I thought when I went, I was like, yeah, I know that they brainwash you, blah, 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 whatever. Like, I'm going to be fine. That's so stupid because I know it happens. It's not going to happen to me. I remember going into basic training and our instructors for the female flight, they were talking about deploying, and all the girls, we all looked at each other and we were so scared. We're like, I'm not deploying. I don't want to deploy. That's too scary. And then I don't remember what happened, but I got to my base and like 9 months later, I'm asking like my leadership and everyone else to volunteer to deploy. No, it was like a year in. I was a year in at my base, and I was volunteering myself to deploy out of cycle just so I could go on a deployment because I wanted to deploy so bad. I was like, I need to deploy. I have to deploy. I want to deploy so badly. And I don't remember, I think when I got out, I remember doing that. And then I also remembered myself being in basic training, like, oh my God, I'd be so scared. You know, I don't want to deploy. And then so also, just so you guys know, you're up for most jobs in the military, there's a cycle. Think of it like quarterly, right? Like business-wise, quarterly. There's a few months every year where you can deploy during that month time. So that's your cycle. So let's just say it's from January to March, okay? And then anybody from January to March, if there's a deployment going on, you will be tasked during that time. That's your time in your cycle. So to volunteer out of your cycle means like, if I was January to March, that means I'm literally saying from January to January, get me on a plane so I can go somewhere. So that's how like gung-ho I got. Deploy the hamster. It's not brainwashing or gaslighting. You want to do it. You need to do it. Swings pocket watch. Yes. It's something you want to do. Ooh. And I was so surprised when I joined. I was so surprised. I was so surprised. But there's something that I really do like to do, especially when I'm meeting like new people or like new content creators like in the military space. I really do enjoy kind of messing with them, especially if they don't know anything about the Air Force. Like I love kind of saying things that I know that are gonna get a rise out of them. Like with like the straightest face, if someone talks about like, oh yeah, like back when I had to do it, like I had a ruck for 15 miles or 20 miles. It was awful. We had to do that every month. And rucking is when you wear a backpack and you load it up with 30, 40, 60 pounds, and then you do a very brisk walk, a tactical walk for however many miles, and you have to do it like, so a 12-mile ruck might take you 5 hours, 8 hours, something like that. And so anytime I like talk to a new person that doesn't like know that I'm kind of like, I'm always leaning towards like being funny versus being serious. I'll try with like the most dead look on my face. Just be like, what's rucking? We didn't have that in the Air Force. Like, what is that? Is that the thing? Like, is that like, what is that? And then I'll just wait for them to like, the like fume to come out of their ears. And then I'll be like, okay, I know. Like, it's fine. Like, Air Force doesn't have freaking rucking. This is why you guys are called the Chair Force. Blah, 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 blah. I think I did get you guys in that in the very beginning. I just forgot. You have to do RASP to be qualified. You have to do RASP, you have to do Ranger School, and then you're not really a qualified Ranger until you've been on a deployment as well. But that's kind of an inside thing. Oh my God, you're pure evil. Oh, I know. I love it. Or being, them be like, oh, I'm going to go take a video at the range and blah, 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 or do whatever. And I'm like, wow, I haven't been to the range since I was in basic training. Just trying to really play. I really have fun playing into the girl stereotype, and I love to play into the Air Force stereotype as much as I can. I love playing into it. Just stirring the pot whenever I can. Rucking. Oh, that's when you go from the barracks to the chow hall, right? That's what you guys call it? I gotta remember that one. That's a good one. You're a chaotic evil. I'm very low threat evil. But low threat means like there can be a lot of it, because it's only low threats. It can be like pew, 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 pew. The best story in AWACS world, if you know the aircraft, you would know it. It was the plane that had the black and white rotor dome. There was a maintenance hatch, and the radar tech told the new boot it was the hatch for the rotor dome pilot. Oh my God. Cold brew, that's so cute. It's just fun. It's fun. Because if you know somebody that's Air Force, right? Yeah. And the reason why I like doing it is because I unintentionally did it so long. Because we used to have at my clinic, we had a former, I think he was a whiskey one. He was a former whiskey one, which I think is like a special medic. I remember him telling us about like his basic training, and all of us little airmen like gathered around to hear how horrible army basic training was back in the day, how the shark attack was, and we were all gathered around like adult kids, just like, ooh, what was it like? And then, you know, I remember saying like, I'm like, dang, like that really sucks. And then another one told us that they had a 9-line rock, and he looked at me and he was, because he looked at us and he, you know, because we all asked, we're like, what's the 9-line rock? What is that? What is that? And he goes, you never had the 9-line rock? And we're like, no, what is that? And he's like, it's hardly a rock. It's basically a boulder, a big boulder with the 9-line on a piece of paper taped onto it. And if you didn't know the 9-line, you had to carry that boulder everywhere you went until you had it memorized. And so like stories like that, you know, doing planks on rocks in the hot sun and the rocks are burning into your arms or whatever. And then I just remember telling like them about, honestly, like, oh, we had 341s. Those are pretty awful. And so, you know, the old school Army medic goes like, what the hell is a 341? What is what is that? What is that? And then I go, well, you know, and all the other airmen are around me, and we're like, yeah, well, it's like, you know, you're in basic training, right? So you have this piece of paper, and it has to be filled out properly at all times, which I didn't do, because I think that they planted a fake one. I think the drill sergeants planted a fake one that wasn't filled out properly in like our I don't even want to say this, in our day room, and it had to be filled out properly. So I copied whatever one was in the freaking day room, and I had it on me. But yeah, 341, it has your name, it has your squadron, it has your flight. So like, think of like your squadron is the building, and then your flight is the room number. Okay, so it's like squadron is the building, so it has your name, the building, the room number, and then like your information. And so I'm telling this story. I'm like, yeah, like we have this 341. He's like, what is that? Like, and then on it is like bad/excellent, and then like a comment section. So you always had to have 3 on you at all times, which means you had to have more than 3 on you, because if one got pulled, you had to do this. So I was telling him like, yeah, if you did something bad, they would circle bad, and they would write whatever bad thing you did, and you had to take that 341 and give it to your drill sergeant, so that they would know, or they would just take it from you and give it to your drill sergeant. Or if you did something good, they'd circle good and then write in the comment section good things that you did, and then you'd give that to your drill sergeant. That's how they could track anyone that was an overachiever or not. And with like the deadest face, he like looked at all of us and he's like, is that true? And I'm taking out all the profanity that this old Army medic was saying at this time. Wasn't old, but definitely like grouchy little Army medic. We all loved him. He's like, you guys are telling me you guys had freaking report cards in your military basic training? He's like, is that an effing joke? You guys had freaking report cards to pass off to your little drill sergeants and tell if you were good or bad? He was like, screw the Air Force, screw you guys suck. That is the worst thing I've ever heard. Well, I was getting shark attacked doing planks on hot pebble rocks every day. You guys had report cards. And he was like, you guys suck. And then we were all just like, we love you. Yeah, it was great. It was great. And it's a funny, it was funny. He was such a little chaotic individual. The other branches hate the Air Force just because they're jelly. I think the best part about being in the Air Force was when I was in Fort Sam Houston, and we were all saluting every Navy, every rank in the Navy has a freaking bird on it. But in basic training, you're taught, because you just learn the ranks, and we only learned the ranks of Air Force. We didn't learn the ranks of all the branches. Which you guys might hear that and go, that's incompetent. Really? It's so locked in. that they were like, you guys don't even need to worry about it. You guys don't even need to worry about it. Anyway, when you are a baby Navy person, you're a little baby Navy at Fort Sam Houston, you guys all have like this bird rank in the middle of your chest. And we were taught two things in basic training: salute if it's shiny and salute if it's a bird, because all officers wear shiny ranks on their uniforms. They have a shiny thing. Now it's a little bit changed. If it's a shiny thing on their hat, you salute it, and if it's a bird, you salute it, because a bird is a damn colonel, and you better salute a damn colonel if you see one. But we were just told to salute a bird. They didn't tell us that the Navy petty officer ranks. That's what it is, Knowles. So we're all in training school. We're all in medic school, right? So you go from basic training, you go to medic school, and then you go do your rotations at the hospital, and then you go to your base. So we're fresh out of basic. And petty officers, which are baby little navies, they're just the same rank as us, like in training school. We're not even a real person yet. Our existence pisses people off. That's the rank we are right now. That is our existence. So we see these flights, these absolute 4x20 things, and these groups, and everybody has like the freaking bird on it. And so we're saluting all day long. We're like, dang, these colonels look so young. I thought they'd look older. It's not a bird, it's a crow. We don't know that. We just came out of basic training. We've never seen a Navy person in our life. All we know is that they are wearing blueberries. So we're saluting all of these like petty officers until someone pulls us aside and screams in our face and goes, why the hell are you saluting a petty officer? And then of course we're new, we don't know. So like me and the girls were just like, well, you said they're an officer, right? Like they're an officer. If they're an officer and they have a bird, and we were told that if they're an officer and they have a bird, we have to salute. And they're like, God damn it, no. They're like, they are the same rank. And then they grabbed some Navy dude by like just some poor Navy guy. Because you had to have your battle buddy. So we're getting like an education taught to us, all the like little, and then the Air Force start like circling around because there's a bunch of Air Force, and then someone in the Navy screaming. So this big Navy dude is just like in this little, like in front of the schoolhouse, which is kind of like a walking area, just like sees a kid and his battle buddy walking by, grabs him by the back of the neck, whips him over here, and he goes, look, you see this? This is the same rank as you. I don't care if he's called a petty officer. He is not an officer, and that is not something you salute. That is not a colonel. And he goes, get the hell out of here. And we were just like, oh my God, the Navy's so scary. But okay, thank you. It was great. Great times. Great times, great times, great times. Great times. Total sergeant. It was completely cinematic. We were getting like, not yelled at, but we were loudly getting spoken to, and in an educational manner, of course. And this poor Navy guy saw this dude and was like trying to like walk around him, and he just sees this guy, looks at his rank, and like reaches back, like barely breaking eye contact with us, grabs his collar and whips him over. It's like, what rank are you? I'm a petty officer. Goes, are you an officer? No, sir. And then all the Air Force are like, well, why are you called an officer then? And blah, blah, blah. And he goes, if you see this rank, you will not salute him. And he goes, that is right. And he goes, get the hell out of here. So good. You're getting assertiveness learned. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, fun story. Fun times. I finally get to hear the real War Hamster voice. I just came here from TikTok. You transported from TikTok? Don't tell TikTok that. They'll get mad, but Twitch will love you. Let's go. Alwina, 1993. Welcome. Okay, that's my favorite story from you, War Hamster. I would definitely make that good for the unsubscribed podcast. I think at some point I will be doing something with the unsubscribed podcast. Unofficially, I'm saying that. There's a lot of dates to figure out, but I know a lot of you guys have wanted that. They reached out to me. Oh, Nikki G2 of 8 gifted a sub to Alwina 1993. Alwina, that means that you won't get any advertisements, so you're good. What is the secret today? I can't tell you. I literally cannot tell you guys. Don't think it up in your head and make it a big thing. I can't tell you until like 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is in Many hours. I cannot tell you. I can't tell. Why are you saluting? But it's a burb. Oh. 75th Ranger Regiment. What's 82nd again? Airborne? Yes. 82nd is the Airborne Division. Yep. Salute the shiny. Salute burb. Okay. Every petty officer that walks by. It's horrible. I also remember. Oh my god, I can't believe I remember this. Guys, playing video games is really helping my memory. I remember being at the base where I was doing my hospital rotations. And again, you're still new. You don't know. We haven't fully been exposed to officers, really. And I remember I was running in my PT gear. And I was running with one of my battle buddies. It was her and I. And she was a very good runner. I was kind of okay. She was like a gazelle. She could just go. She was fast. And I was like, I want to run with you so I can get faster. And I remember we were going by, we were running on a part of base. I didn't know what it was, but there was an officer and we were coming up on him. So we're running. We see an officer and we were in our PT gear and we start to slow down. So we start to whisper at each other and we're like, hey, I think that's an officer. And she goes, yeah, I think you're right. And I go, okay, how do we salute an officer while we're running? I don't think they cover this in basic training. And then she goes to me and she goes, I don't know. I don't think my drill sergeant told me how we salute when we run either. So we're like, okay, I think the rule is like 6 paces out. And she's like, yeah, I think it's like 6 paces out. And then we salute. And we're like, yeah, okay, well, we'll do that. And we're like, yeah, okay, that sounds like a great idea. So we're running in PT gear. And for those of you that aren't in the military, that part is very important. So we're running. We slow our run down. When we're like, maybe we should double our 6 paces because we're running, because that makes it that 6 paces go by faster. She's like, yeah, I think that's also a great idea. So we're like slowing down. We're planning our time. We're like, okay, I think it's about 6 paces. And so we go 1, 2, 3. And then we both throw up our hand while we're jogging. We're saluting. Not in a military uniform. In PTs. Which is so stupid to tell the story. It's so stupid. You don't salute when you're in PTs. We didn't know that. You don't salute when you're running. We also didn't know that. We just knew you had to salute. And nobody ever told us they'll tell you how to do it when you're walking. They'll tell you how to acknowledge people. They'll tell you what to do, when to drop your salute, how to drop your salute, whatever, how to accept an award. So we are saluting and running and we go, good afternoon, sir. And I don't know if he couldn't process the stupidity of what he was like seeing right now. I don't know if he could process it, but it took him a minute. He just stopped dead in his tracks, just like this, and was just like staring at these 2 girls in their PT gear, running and saluting at the same damn time, and then just like calls us over. No. He didn't call us over. That was a different thing. No, this guy screamed at us. That's what it was. Okay. We like passed because he doesn't do his salute thing. He doesn't salute us back. So we're like, oh my God, what do we do? Do we drop it? Because you're only supposed to drop your salute after them. So you salute, they salute. When they drop their salute, you salute. Right? So they go like this and then you have to wait until they've dropped their salute. So he screams at us with the most confused but very angry but needing to like fix the situation so we never do it again kind of voice. And he goes, you do not salute in PTs or while you're, and then a lot of profanity, while you're running. He's like, that better be a 5 mile that you ladies are doing right now. And then we look at each other like we just made like the biggest mistake. And then we book it as fast as we can in synchronization going like, yes, sir. And then we just like sprint. And we were supposed to go straight because that's the running track. But we totally dipped around the corner of the building so that he just wouldn't see us anymore. It was so bad. It was so bad. So bad. It was awful. I'm so lucky that whenever something stupid happened, it wasn't around a bunch of people. It was always in like me and my battle buddy. I was with her for so long. I was with her in tech school. I was with her in my rotations. Oh, we did so many stupid things. We got into so much trouble. We just, everywhere we went, we looked guilty and we were screwing things up. It was so bad. It was so bad. Yeah, you're lucky if all the bad things happen around only a couple people. The dynamic duo. Oh, we were awful. We were so stupid together. I loved it. I loved it. We were just like two girls trying to figure it out. Just happy to be in the Air Force and just completely stupid when it came to that stuff. We were so stupid, but we were so happy and stupid. So it was kind of like, it was a mixed feeling, right? Like saluting in PTs while you're running at an officer. I'm pretty sure it's a major too. And that's why we were super stressed too, because we were like, I think that was a major. Because we learned from our situation at Fort Sam. We learned to figure out what the other ranks were. And we're like, okay, we think that's a major. That's a major. Hammy was a class example. You have no idea. They're high speed with lots of drag. That was the only issue. Ignorance is bliss. Yeah. You guys have no idea how much I was a class example. I really didn't lock it in until I was in my last year in the military. That's when I was good. That's when I was super locked in. My last year, I hit like an all-time low. The biggest low I've ever had. Like, I felt like I brought shame and dishonor on my entire squadron. It was so bad. And then I picked myself up. I made a medical program. I started doing social media. I got praised by my colonel. I got approved by legal. Everything got passed. Legal approved, I think, is a very big deal. I'm kind of saying that as a flex because it's kind of cool. And this was like before there were like social media regulations. So, yeah. Made a pelvic floor physical therapy program for anyone that is pregnant coming in, civilian or not. I was super proud of that. Also, to have it continued postpartum, which means after you give birth. I'm about to lose like half the audience right now because nobody wants to talk about that. But I'm so proud of that program. I'm gonna talk about I could talk about it forever. It's so good. Anyway, I made a medical program with no medical experience, just as an emergency medical technician. That is pretty freaking huge. That's pretty huge. I think that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, legal approved. Military legal approved to be a military content creator. That's a pretty big deal. I got the sign off. That's awesome, Hams. Thank you. Military legal approved. Yeah, it is very difficult because the military legal, they don't represent you. They represent the entire branch of the military. They don't care about you. They don't care. Their job is to make the Air Force as successful as possible. They do not represent you as an airman. They represent the branch of government. That is who they represent. So for me to be like, it was pretty nice. I remember feeling scared to post anything. I was scared for years. Honestly, watching Nico Ortiz for so long made me like, because this was before social media military influencers were like a thing. Nico, I can't think of anyone doing it on such a large scale as Nico Ortiz did. I cannot think of somebody else. I just remember seeing his bits, seeing them be funny, and like that's it. And I saw it for so long. And when you're in the military, when basic training, you're taught never to post in uniform. Social media, the idea of posting in social media was horrifying. It should have made anybody physically ill. I saw Nico doing it. I saw a bunch of like, and like it was kind of starting to like catch like, I wouldn't say traction, but like people weren't getting banned. And I thought Nico was in. I didn't know. He was wearing military stuff. I had no idea. He might have been out by the time I was like starting to do that stuff. I don't know. But yeah. And then I started making content very low key. I abided by OPSEC, which means I was sterile. My uniform was completely sterile, which means I didn't have my branch. I didn't have my name. I didn't have my rank. I didn't have my unit. I didn't have my base. The only thing I would rep in my earlier videos was my American flag. And the OCPs, the uniform that you're wearing, Air Force and Army have the same OCPs. So you had no idea if I was Army, if I was Air Force, other than when I would mention it, Well, you could actually tell from the flag. If you were in, you could tell by the flag because our flag was spice brown. I think the army has a bright yellow thing. So you could tell by the flag if you were in. But I remember I was doing it. It was super low key. Some of my friends like saw some of my videos here and there. And then about 6 months later, I never mentioned my branch. You know, I was scared. And especially when I started making content, I got a lot of hate. At one point, I had to address my sterile uniform because the amount of comments I got about me being stolen valor was I usually don't address issues that arise in comments. I try not to. Because one, it's not my place to talk. It's a space for everybody to talk. So everybody can talk. But I remember there was so many comments about me being stolen valor. And I was like, ooh, this is getting to a point where I have to address it. So I made a video about why I wear a sterile uniform and why this is OPSEC, because you don't want to give away any personal information. God forbid I make a terrible video and my freaking unit patch is on there and I've just disrespected my entire unit. Hell no, I will not do that. If I'm going down, it's me as a person. I'm not taking my branch, my unit, making my rank look bad. Like, I will not do that. I will disrespect myself, but I will not have that like go off to like whoever I'm working for, which is Uncle Sam in the Air Force. So I eventually had to make like a video about that. The second big thing I got that was a lot of hate was, so first was the stolen valor, and then the second was medical. I had to be, there's like, I remember when I was very early on in my stuff, they didn't let you make a Haster name tag. I have one. I had some that were sent to me, that I would use. But that's like, you don't like ask to get babysit by that stuff. You know, you just kind of do what you want to do, but keep it locked in. And if you've built enough trust with your reputation being consistently clean, and I'm not talking about anything HIPAA, I'm keeping myself sterile, not causing any problems, you don't really need to, worry about that stuff. E4 Mafia does a good enough job making themselves look bad. Yeah. I don't know if you guys will ever get the name Warhamster. Maybe one day. Maybe one day when I'm retired and I'm retired from the internet and I'm 80 years old. And yeah, maybe I'll tell you guys then. Or maybe sooner, I don't know. But so far, very small group of individuals know about the Warhamster. More baby medic videos coming soon? Maybe. I've thought about it. I think your story will be your send-off sequel. But curious parties want to know. Yes, curious minds want to know. And curiosity killed the cat. Even though satisfaction brought her back, we can't be doing that. On her last day on the internet, like Demolition Ranch Matt, she'll reveal the Warhamster story. What do you mean? Demolition Ranch Matt? Did he reveal a story on his last day? When Twitch is being beamed into brains, we'll find out what Warhamster means.